So, this week, we got our new home delivered. So, she looks absolutely amazing. Brand new, lovely Caravan. Super happy sitting in it now, as you can see. Quite different to the bus, but they both have their kind of amazing things about them, but so amazing for us to be in this kind of new space that's just very different to what we were used to. So it kind of brings up the question, I guess, for some people, why change? Why do we need it? And I think there's a few different things. Like anyone, there's no one thing that made us want to change from having the bus to having a Caravan. But a couple of the things I'm just going to run over now and show what it was for us. That will be different for every person, but why it kind of worked for us at this particular point in time and why we did it. So, one of the first things that made us want to have a change was space and how we use space. So, while overall the Caravan isn't necessarily hugely bigger than the bus, it's differently spaced out and it's all on one level, which is really good for us with not having to have kids or previously us climbing up and down ladders to go to bed. Obviously there is the big downside that we don't have the amazing balcony that we used to have, but overall we feel like it's a safer option and just more accessible generally. It's also good because the loft space, while it was extra space, you obviously couldn't stand up in there. It was pretty low in comparison, so it was really only good for going up to sleep in, not usable in any other way. Whereas in the space now, being all on one level, it's higher, so every space is usable as a multi-space. And that's another thing about this Caravan, just overall in the height, is that internally in this room, it's much taller inside, which is great for me and my partner because we're both pretty tall people. I'm 6'2", 6'3", so the bus was really on the edge, even in the downstairs, of how we could kind of fit, and sometimes I felt like I was hunching a little bit to get around things, which didn't overall bother me. It probably wasn't really a key reason for getting something new, but it certainly is a nice change. I think the next most important things for us is that we currently live in a campground on a sort of permanent basis, but we wanted to be able to travel sometimes. Now, we could do that in the bus, but we just didn't really do it enough to justify having a vehicle there with a big diesel engine in the front that really needs to be running more regularly than we were really going to use it for. And that meant that it was just sitting a lot, and it seemed a shame for mechanically it's just not ideal, and also it ends up therefore having wasted space because the driver's seating area can't really be changed. Yes, you can build in some flexible options, but they're quite expensive, and so it ended up kind of being a dead space for us, which meant floor space that was just really unused for the 99% of the time we were using it as our stationary home. With the Caravan we don't have that issue, and whilst we're currently on the lookout for a tow vehicle for the Caravan to be able to go away, once we have that vehicle, we're still going to use it for other everyday use, which makes it far more practical for us without being tied into having something that's more wasteful. We also just like that when we can get somewhere, we can use that vehicle to go away and not be stuck to the bus. In theory, we could have put something behind the bus and towed a small car or something, but it was already pulling a lot just because of the sheer scale of the bus and the size of it. To then have to add on the weight of a trailer or towed car seemed like a lot. But it made it difficult if you wanted to go away, because it's not the kind of bus you just want to pop to the supermarket in, or just run to a local, a track or something once you've set it up in a camping ground. So we think with the Caravan, at least we can go somewhere, set up the Caravan, and then we can still explore the surrounding areas, which is really what we want to do, and part of the reason we live this lifestyle, so that we can get away with the children and for us to have time out in the wilderness or out seeing this beautiful country that we live in. So that was really probably one of the major factors. And I think also for us, just having something new that maybe has less stress. I say that now because it's new, and in theory things shouldn't be going wrong when it's brand new, so you don't have to worry as much about things that might break or so on and so forth. Although having said that, like anything, things could go wrong all the time. So again, not a huge factor, but it is a nice, comforting feeling. And those are really probably the key reasons, that the flexibility of space, the change from Caravan or from motorhome to Caravan, and just being a little more practical. So we're really happy with it. We think it's a good change. It was totally worthwhile. At some point in the future, I'll show everyone a little bit around it, but of course I'll put some details about what it is that we purchased in the info down below, and you can have a look. They've got some really good 3D type walkthroughs of all the Caravans that they provide. It's a Forest River Apex 300 VHS, so it's made by Coachman, and people can look at them on there and see what they look like. It's they've got probably better info than I do, and we will kind of keep you posted with how it's going and how we feel about it, and talk a little bit more about it as we go on and discuss the various things that we still need to do to get it to where we want it to be. So I hope you've enjoyed watching this. Again, it's just a little bit about our life, what we're doing, just trying to make it accessible to people who are thinking about this kind of lifestyle. We'll be going into it even more in future videos, talking about some tips and tricks. Next time we're going to talk about some of the products we're using and some of the things that we're trying to do to just be a little better, a little more respectful to this place we live on Earth, and think about what impact we're having with what we're doing, and just talk a little bit about that. I'm not trying to force anyone or shove anything down anyone's throat in terms of how people should live. Everyone needs to just make their own choices, but we're just going to show you some of the things that we do that we find easy, that aren't sort of massively impacting our life, but are making helpful changes to what we're doing. So if that's something that interests you, please like and subscribe to the channel, and look out for what we're doing each week. There'll be a new video every week, And if you really want to support and help us kind of grow and just support being able to have time to do this, or maybe be able to show some more products and things, we also have a Patreon account. And again, there'll be more details about that coming up. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and see you in the next video.